Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Orange Juice News and Notes from around the world of Insoles. I am your host back again, Owen Kenoy, and with us we have my mother and awesome guest host with us, Marsha. Hey, Marsha.
I thought we were supposed to say I'm your mother. Shoot. At least you don't say
No,
I'm
this
the
is
grandmother to your children. That sounds really old. But
yeah, we have Grandma Marsha on with us. No, everybody knows this is a family podcast. So, hi, Marsha, my mom.
hello. It's funny you say co-host because I think I missed the last three or four. It's been you and your sister, but
Well, I
that's
don't want to
okay.
hurt your feelings. You're a co-host.
All right. All right. I'm still in it for 2025. I don't know what's gonna happen next year, but I'm in it. All right. I'm here to bring out the end of the year and into the new year for 2026.
Awesome. So, yes, as of release of this podcast, we are about a week or so away from Christmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays,
Yeah.
whatever you celebrate and is important to you. But also with that, immediately after is the new year, and we talked about this concept of the great lock-in or kind of setting these goals before the new year and doing what you can to essentially get a head start. So once January 1st or the new year gets here, you're feeling good about things. Now, let's say you haven't started, that's still okay. There's a few weeks before the new year, and today's topic I think would be a very useful tool for you, something that you can. Um, with just a little bit of, I guess, legwork on your end, get a totally customized game plan for whether that's certain goals you have, or maybe you don't even know your goals, or maybe you want to eat healthier or run a 5K, whatever it is. We're going to talk about really AI and how you can use it for health and wellness. So obviously, it's being used for all sorts of things at this point, and there's this kind of AI boom happening. But there are so many positive things you can use it for, and one thing included is like nutrition and wellness and training.
Yeah, one thing I was gonna say is if you are behind and it's like, "Oh, shoot, we got 16 days." Well, when we are recording this podcast, more like 7 days when you actually might hear this podcast. It's amazing on what we're gonna walk you through today that within literally 30 seconds, you could have an entire workout plan. So that's what's the good thing about AI, if you use it right, is that it could literally produce that, and I'm gonna walk you through an example I did today, with the plan. But before we get into that, for me, I didn't realize how many AI platforms there are out there. So on Friday last week, I actually went to an AI class, which was interesting to be back in the classroom, but I do love to stay on top of this type of stuff when it comes to the industry and how we're spending money to get consumers and talk to consumers. So I went to this AI class, and I probably learned 7 different AI platforms. And at a high level, I'm just going to hit with you probably the ones you should consider, and you probably have already used them. So I would say don't like reinvent the wheel. If you're comfortable with one of these AI platforms, I'm going to walk you through how you're going to get your health game plan through your own AI platform. But the one I first got introduced to was Chat GPT. And Owen and I, have used it like nonstop the last 3 years. Probably one of the first ones out there, one we were comfortable with. We actually called it Chad instead of chat. We called him Chad, best employee. He responded 24/7, didn't have to pay him, was always on time, always available. It was like our inside joke, right, Owen? Chad got employee of the month all the time, wouldn't you say? We always gave him employee of the month.
Yeah, in a half serious way, Chad's coming for my job, so I better be careful or partner with Chad so that we have some chemistry, or using AI really to our advantage, which I know everybody's probably heard in some sort of way before. But
That's a very good point. Either you can embrace it and like almost like a cheat sheet. It's almost like having someone as you're taking a test answer it for you when you weren't sure which way to go. But so and on that note, when we get into these, I'm going to just talk about a couple quick platforms and then basically in a nutshell how to quickly build a plan that literally it will kick out maybe even in 10 seconds. It takes the most time it takes is what you're telling the AI platform, And the more detailed you are and the more in depth, the better the output's going to be for you. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But ChatGPT is super popular. Claude is the one I'm hearing everybody switch over to. And basically, that's the more ethical one, the more on that particular platform. ChatGPT was more of like a creative, mainstream, professional kick out a plan. I mean, I planned a whole trip to Iceland out of ChatGPT. It gave me all the links, where to buy my tickets, everything, and everything worked when I got over there. So it's interesting these bits, and so will Claude, but it's just interesting. And then there's also Google has Gemini, which I use inside of my emails and how to craft newsletters, and it summarizes my emails for me when I got a whole clump together. So it depends on what platform you're looking for. But under health, there's also Perplexity AI, which is more a conversational engine. I haven't really played around with it other than today was the first day, and I'll speak to that in just a second. And then there's Grok. Am I saying that right, Owen?
Mhm.
Elon Musk's company, the one that kind of it's mixed in with X, which is Twitter,
Mhm.
old
Yeah, it used to
platform.
be Twitter and, now it's X, but on X, they have their, like, AI assistant Grok that you can use for all sorts of stuff.
And I heard it's kind of funny, witty kind of thing. I've never tried it, but that's another one that seems to be out there amongst the young kids. But so ChatGPT and Claude are the ones I'm more familiar with. But for today's exercise, because I just downloaded Perplexity and I wanted to try it, I put this simple statement in there and I said, how do I plan a fitness schedule to lose 5 pounds? That's all I did. And it kicked out, not only did it kick out a fitness schedule each week and what to do and how to build up the fitness schedule in detail for even told me my rest days. It also told me what to eat, told me to reduce 250 to 500 calories a day, told me how much protein, veggies, all of this. And I hadn't even told it yet my weight, age, female, male, my height, any of that. So imagine if I put that into that statement, what it would have come out with. But with a 2-second sentence, the plan it came out with, honestly, I was already sold on. It made sense for my body type, what I wanted to do. So I bring that up because it's that simple. And, if you want to run a marathon, if you want to run a 5K, or you just want to be active from what you're doing right now, the more information you put in there on your goals, or just keep it high level like I did with one simple sentence, I just want to lose 5 pounds in the next year. How do I do it? And it launched it out. So I'll pause there. But oh, and I'm sure you've kind of played around with it too. And the other thing I would say is when you're putting an input, I also would, if it didn't come out with something I liked, I would have put something in. It's wintertime where I'm at. I can't be out running. Find other ways of cardio because one of the days I'm supposed to do 20 minutes of cardio. So that's where I'd go back and adjust it by saying, hey, it's wintertime. What can I do in place of that? Just keep talking through it till I get a final plan. So what's your thought, Owen?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're nailing it with how to use it, and it's really cool how you can prompt it again by giving it more information, like you're saying, like your, I guess, like vitals, so to speak, and maybe you give it like your interests or whatever it may be, or things you like, things you dislike, things you've struggled with, or another really simple thing that I want to hear is you could even type in, "I'm trying to lose 5 pounds. What information would you like to know?" And it'll ask you a bunch of information that is going to help it further tailor the plan. So when you type in, I want to lose 5 pounds, that's a really great start and it's going to give you some general recommendations that are probably going to work very well for you. But then again, asking it to give you prompts, so to speak, is another really great way for it to just be even more personalized. Or maybe you again have things already in mind that you want to tell it about yourself, or things you've struggled with in the past when you're trying to train or eat healthy or whatever it may be. So
That's a really
yeah.
good point. I forgot to you could almost flip it on it, right? So when I was saying earlier, I traveled to, did a whole Iceland trip. One of the things I did ask it is during this window of the 7 days I'm going to be there, is there anything going on that I should take advantage of? And one of it was puffin season. Like the birds are there for 2 weeks. I just happened to be at that time. And it was like, you should go see them. So kind of like what you're saying, it's like, what am I missing here? And what data do you need back again that would make this a better plan for me? So if you're not sure what to even ask, you can just tell the program that and it will flip it back. And then you answer those questions and it recycles everything. And it's so amazing. So you can have that done today. Within 5 minutes, you could have a whole plan that you could then print out and start attacking. One other thing I'm going to add that Owen's more familiar with than what I am is if you are in programs that you've already paid for, like Peloton or Garmin, inside of their programs, they have AI that can already have your data from working on their platforms, and they can turn around and knock out a more solid program from what you've already built with inside. So Peloton's that home bike system, and then Garmin is like a watch that you can wear that you work out with, you swim in, you weightlift in, you run in. It does everything in it, and then it will kick back on what you need to adjust in your current program to maybe lose that 5 pounds or whatever that goal is. So that's another one that those you pay for. The ones we're giving you, you don't pay for. Are these other platforms are free for
Yeah,
now.
exactly, and, you can find a lot of the same benefits from these free tools as well, and Peloton is super simple where it's just tracking, like, your total activity in a week, and then maybe the different types of exercises, and, let's say you finish one up, it'll say, "Do you wanna stack this class with another one? Here are 3 we recommend." It just makes it super easy to be like, "Oh, yeah, I will do a 10-minute arms workout, like, that sounds good, I wasn't even thinking about that, but I have my dumbbells right here," or whatever, so even just in the simplest ways, a lot of things are using AI just to better cater to you and your preferences. And with that, so I have actually been using ChatGPT extensively for grocery shopping and meal planning. Well, both my wife and I will use it, and maybe one week it's her using it, the next week it's me using it, that sort of thing. But yeah, you can just let it know kind of like your food goals, whether it's like, hey, I want to cut back on sweets, or more specifically, like I need a gluten-free diet or whatever it is, and just fill it in on kind of what you'd want to do. Even include like a budget for what you're looking for. If you are on a pretty tight budget, you can include that. Or if you're like, hey, I would really love to invest in like some great nutrition and food, and I don't mind kind of going all out on some meals and whatnot. Like I want some really good ideas. You can go that route too. So it's kind of what you make it, but you can let it know kind of A to Z about yourself, and then say, hey, here, can you please recommend, 5 dinners, or 5 dinners and 2 lunch ideas, or whatever it is you want. And then it's going to come back with recommendations, and you could then maybe say like, oh, I forgot to tell you, like this one has mushrooms. I don't like mushrooms. And be like, oh, okay, here are 2 other options you could incorporate. But what I like is you start there, and then it's giving you kind of the food ideas or the meal ideas, and you say, okay, can you make a grocery list for this? And then now it has a grocery list set out for you. And just for me and my wife, we're parents of 2 little ones, full-time jobs, limited daycare and whatnot. So like every little bit of time saving is super important. We don't always have time to sit there and, flip through a cookbook or go on like Instagram and check out recipes or really plan. So being able to do this and then even say, hey, can you actually organize the groceries based on section, which is my favorite part, to make it easier once you get to the store. Go ahead and do that. And
That's what
we've
I
had all
wondered because
sorts of
that's
great
where you
meals.
save time. Like, I can't imagine just having this random list. But I noticed that too. You can go by section and they
Mhm.
reorg right? Yeah. That's a really valid point. And then to your point, if you're trying to match the meal plan with the fitness plan that kicked out, like, hey, I'm supposed to upgrade my protein by, 30, 60, whatever it is that I'm supposed to take that day. That what I'm assuming I've seen it like kick out meal plans that are heavy protein driven.
Yeah, it does all sorts of things, and I've even given it feedback on the recommendations it makes, like as like, hey, what, because you can go back to your like thread or query or whatever you want to call it, like the conversation, and what I'll say is like, "Hey, this went pretty well, but I felt pretty hungry after a few meals. Looking back on it, it seems like it's kind of basic in elements. Like this week, can you kind of jazz it up or, bring in some more like healthy fats or whatever you think to make these meals a little bit more fulfilling, or what other recommendations do you have?" And then it can then adjust. And that's where you're really gonna get even more benefit once you're telling it how you are reacting to the plan it's making for you.
Love it. And what I also think is like groceries. I'm assuming you're like everything's getting used because it's all going into a recipe. So that's in alone in itself is going to save you money because I'm the one who goes to the store. And if I don't have a grocery list, I'm buying everything on sale off the end caps as I drive the grocery store. I love telling people the story how I used to send Owen and his brother to the store with a grocery budget. I started this in high school, their senior year, so they learn how to budget before they went to college. And I'd send them with a grocery list and money to the store and go get this for me. And you guys would come back and I go, you must have forgot something because that didn't cost much. But then I realized you were only getting exactly what I told you to get. I wasn't grabbing stuff off of end caps and
Absolutely.
all the impulse buying that you do. It's crazy. So this I would think would save money also by following the program. Other than beef right now, we won't talk about meat prices. Holy smokes. I don't think I'll ever get to eat a steak again, at least in 2025. Holy
I
Moses.
know. Yeah, that's a luxury.
Yeah.
And, the other thing I was going to mention too is just broadly when you're sharing data with, um, these apps, we'll call them, or these AI agents, a lot of them do have clauses where the company is able to collect and store that data and basically use it to better the machine and whatnot, or the system. And, that's obviously kind of a something that means something a little different to everyone. But if you are someone that is very data conscious and doesn't necessarily want your data to be available to like these companies and for improvements and whatnot, just make sure you're aware of that. Marsha, I think you said Perplexity is kind of one of the more ethical
Mhm. Mhm.
options that you could try. But then also, I know that there's ways to like opt out of data collection and whatnot. So just an important note, it means a little bit different, something a little bit different to everyone. But if you are conscious of that, just make sure you're keeping it in mind.
So with the grocery list, there's also a couple items that can help you with your daily wellness and time management. One of them that I use is this. It's an Aura ring. And this too is got AI generation. So like I have an app on my phone and it merges in there and it tells me I think we've talked about this in the past on one of our podcasts, but
Mhm.
it's really helped me with like sleep is as I get older, it's so important to me to make sure I'm getting my sleep. It's probably one of the number one things I can really do for myself is to have a good night's sleep. And I'll wake up in the morning like tired and dragging in, and it'll say, your readiness score is a 92. I'm like, what? Yippee, let's go. Like, kind of waking myself up, like, get it together. It says you're ready to go. But it will also take and affect your heart rate through the night. It'll say when you woke up, didn't wake up, gives you your total hours you slept. So it gives you a sleep score and a readiness score in the morning. So, yes, it's a 9.99 fee I have to pay each month, but I think it's definitely worth it just to give me those extra data points. It tells me how many calories I burned that day, which is big if I'm trying to follow the menu that AI kicked out, like how many calories can I have in a day? This will tell me, and I'm not trying to figure it out. It tells me how many steps I got in because a lot of wellness programs, if you say I don't want to do a lot of cardio, okay, great. You got to get 10,000 steps in, like power walking or whatever, and this will track that for you as well. So, and then also just one other thing for daily wellness and time management with AI is you can, if you just need some mental health support, you can put in there what's bothering you, what your concerns are. It could kick out like how to write a journal if it recommends that. It has different therapy prompts. Mindful ideas. I know I can mention quite a few people who kind of have put their thoughts in there and it gave them ideas on how to bring their stress down, just the whole mental health support. I'm not as familiar, so I can't give you more examples than that, but I would just say, to Owen's point, if you're sensitive about sharing that with AI, there's ways to cut that off and say, don't share my information. But then there's ways to get some basic feedback. But, obviously we always recommend a real therapist. But if you're just wanting to test it out, like 2026, what are some mindful mental health ideas I could, incorporate? That's nothing tragic going on in my life, but I think I'd like some downtime, some, uh, meditation ideas or whatever it is. So that's another thought for it too. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to say it might make you feel better so you can do more by following it's a free platform that you can use.
100%. And feel better, do more is our slogan. And yeah, mental health can be all sorts of things. Obviously, if you're like really struggling and maybe have a lot of stress in your life, maybe seeking help outside of this would be best. But there are so many things you can do where you're like, hey, at lunchtime, I kind of feel stressed out sometimes. What's something that could help me power through the afternoon? And you might get like 10 awesome recommendations. So it's kind of what you make it and really how you want to cater it to yourself as well. So I can't speak enough to how especially with like your fitness journey and whatnot, how the more information you feed it, the better it gets, or just like the feedback you give it. So, let's say you're training for a half marathon for the first time, and it gives you a training plan, and you're like, hey, I actually really in your head, you're thinking, "I actually really struggled at the beginning of this, but towards the end, I felt like I was able to finish strong, and actually, I had a hamstring issue from sessions, 3 through 10 or whatever, and that could have impacted it too." Sharing all that information, for maybe your next event you wanna do could be super helpful for the AI as well, because then it's going to store that information, and then it might be like, hey, don't forget to, or it'd be more formal in like your plan you're getting back from the AI agent, but it might then further highlight like, hey, make sure you're stretching your hamstrings or do an extra warm up or whatever it may be, just to be conscious of that. Or it might then taper the mileage back in the beginning, or do a more of a variety of exercises in the beginning, or whatever it may be. So, yeah, we don't need to harp on it too much, but using it to your advantage and giving it feedback on its recommendations is only going to make the recommendations better.
So, kind of in conclusion, I would say the three free products that I think Owen and I are the most used to or comfortable with is ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity. And I would also say that within those three platforms, if once you put in your goals or what it is you're looking for, and if it spews out 3 pages worth of stuff and you're like, no way am I doing all that. There is the option that you would just write, condense this down. And if it's not condensed enough down or simplify this down, hit it again. So you can take a lot of information that it could give you and you could really shorten it down to 2 or 3 things, because at the end of the day, you can't do all these changes. If you can, you're amazing. But reality is most people can't. And if you can just do 3 things when you come out of the gate that you're focused on in 2026, you're more apt to stick to it. And remember, we've had a podcast on this before. Second week in January, if you haven't started or you think you failed, start over again. It's okay. It takes time for change. Change doesn't happen right away. So give yourself permission to just do a couple things and work hard at them. So use ChatGPT, use Claude, use Perplexity. They're free apps. You can download them on your computer. You can download them to your phone. Hit them anytime. They're right there for you 24/7. And you can make it as simple as you want it to be. You tell it what you want. So I think we just wanted to share these platforms when you start thinking about 2026. AI is a hot topic out there, but it's something that you can embrace and use to your advantage as well into the new year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully you pick up one of these tools, and even if you find one or two things like Marsha mentioned that help further move you in the right direction, or give you a head start, whatever it may be, wherever you are on your journey, then I would say that is a very big success. But yeah, absolutely feel inclined to use it as you're planning for the New Year's. And we wish everyone a very, very happy holiday season. We are going to be back with another episode before the new year, so stay tuned. And thanks so much for listening.